Rule 9 alert. If any club offers more than a player's market value, you have to sell. So we could be about to lose both of our goalkeepers, and there are other clubs sniffing around Antony Clarke. This could be a long January. Greetings, my excellent friends, and welcome to Club 3, Part 10 of the Director of Moneyball. I'm Kirk Sheridan, and this could be the beginning of the end. Mabude is wanted by Fulham and Gladbach. Wetzels is wanted by Juve and Napoli. We've already rejected one offer from Napoli, and we've had to agree a fee of £23.5 million for Wetzels. So if that offer comes in, he's gone. Bajcetic is wanted by Villarreal, and we have a couple of players under offer right now. Blázquez is wanted by Napoli, but thankfully the total value of that transfer is only £1.5 million, so I'm rejecting that out of hand. It's nowhere near the top range of his market value, and we're going to need him to stick around because Man United have offered £10.5 million for Nicholas Heddle. I have to accept it. That's the rules. I made them. It's my duty to stick with them. I will see just how high we can get them to push this, though. Well, we've been able to push it up to 25 million, so that's pretty good. We signed him for 3.7 million, so that's a pretty decent profit. But I will make sure that we're scouting a first-team goalkeeping replacement. Thankfully, though, we have been able to stave off the interest in Antony Clarke, so Aston Villa came in and offered him a role as assistant manager. I tried to convince him with my silky words that we had a great working relationship, and he was very steely. No, I will make my own decision. Well, we helped him make that decision by offering him a massive pay rise. He was on about 4.2k a week. He's now on £11,000 a week, and totally deserves it, of course. Because although we lost to Manchester United, the game after the Leicester defeat you saw in the previous episode, we've been unbeaten since. That means we did the double over Chelsea this year, we managed to hold Arsenal at home, so we have dropped to 4th place. But after 22 matches, we're in 4th place. Only 1 point off of 2nd and 6 points currently ahead of Newcastle in 5th. It genuinely does feel like we're challenging for Europe this season. Well, we're 11 points clear of the chasing pack for Europe. Are we challenging for the Champions League this season? Feels ridiculous to say that, but we might actually be. In order for us to keep pushing, though, top priority is keep this team together. Here's the first test. Villarreal have come in with an offer for Bajcetic. They're offering £13.5 million in total, which is nowhere near his market value. So that is another one that's being rejected out of hand. We'll see if they come back in with a higher offer, but hopefully that's kept them at bay until the summer at least. And for our next match, we're up against Cardiff away from home in the FA Cup. And it's a comfortable 2-0 victory. Excellent stuff. 2 goals for Sonny Finch. And a 7.3 for Anderson Pinot, who's now started both matches since his January move from Brazil. We paid £11 million for him. Our new wonder kid central defender, and he is valued at 25 to 31. 6'3", 19 jumping reach. He's going to be a huge threat from set pieces. This feels like a cracking piece of business. It looks like we held Cardiff at bay the entire game looking at those match stats. And in fact, we did capitalise on a couple of defensive errors for both of our goals. So Rukavina managed to drag the central defender away to free space for Finch to hammer in our first goal, and then Finch capitalised on a slip from the central defender for his second as well. Sutar just losing the ball in a terrible place, putting his goalkeeper in all sorts of trouble. Some rather significant words from Antony Clarke, though, after that match, which I can't say I entirely agree with. He wouldn't swap Sonny Finch for anyone, not even Erling Haaland. I don't think he's been entirely accurate there, because to be honest, if Taser wasn't on international duty, he probably would have played instead of Finch. Right, 11th of January, and we are starting some business to ship out some of the players who we are happy to see depart us this January. Trilly has been with us for a couple of years, joined us for £5.25 million from Borussia Dortmund when we were still in the Championship, made 31 appearances last year, but only 6 of those starts in the league, and hasn't started a league match for us this season. So we are letting him leave for Nice for a fairly cheap wage percentage, but they've got a £6 million optional future fee with £6.5 million of instalments afterwards. So £12.5 million if they want to pick him up permanently. That would be a phenomenal return for us. And the next day, we have a similar situation for Medina. We're getting a decent enough monthly fee, but they have an option to pick him up permanently for £10.5 million. I'll be a bit sad to see him go. He was brilliant for us last year, scored 7 goals and got 3 assists in only 25 starts in the Championship, but just hasn't featured in the first team this season since we've improved the first team squad. So this does feel like another great opportunity to potentially double our money. But from outgoing transfers I'm delighted with to ones that I'm devastated to see, Nicholas Heddle is about to join Manchester United for £25.5 million. I suppose I should be delighted though. This is the biggest Moneyball transfer of my career. We're making a 675% profit on this particular deal. Oh, so farewell, Nicholas. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you, and thank you for the net profit. It's literally a transfer a day at the moment. Very next day we get an offer from Genk for Fernandes, another loan to buy, an £11.5 million option this time, for a player who has made 4 appearances for us this year, and only 7 in the Championship last season despite an £8 million fee. So this feels like one I need to bite their hand off for. Right, 16th of January, we are about to play away from home at Southampton. We've shipped out 5 players so far this window, and that's given us a few selection problems. Pino, Oteza and Manga are all away on international duty with their respective under-23s. They're trying to qualify for the Olympics. And Bajcetic has got flu. That means we are looking very light in central defence, and I think we're going to be dependent on Smolcic and probably Onana to keep things tight at the back for the next few matches. Antony Clarke does it again. 1-0 victory away from home. Sonny Finch getting the winner once more. And an incredibly similar pattern of play to what I've witnessed time and time again this season. Far lower possession than the opposition, but a much higher XG and totally in control of the match momentum. A fantastic predatory finish for Finch. Rukavina picked up the ball and looked like he had a lot to do, but he floated one into the centre and Finch just stole his way ahead of the defender to nod the ball in past the goalkeeper. So that's a clean sheet for Blázquez, which is brilliant to see, and rubbing a bit of salt in the wound for Jan-Paul van Hecke, who obviously I wanted to sign in the summer. You joined the wrong team, my friend. And Antony Clarke, the best assistant manager the world has ever seen, TM, is so proud of what we've achieved so far this season and thinks we are good enough to win something. That is some serious ambition for a club that is still believed to be 600 to 1 to win the league. But I can't knock it. He's an Everton legend in the making, and of course I want to give him the team to allow him to achieve that goal. Hopefully that will be made a little bit easier because the board have confirmed an increase to our transfer revenue retained, and they're increasing our academy coaching to excellent status over time, which will make it much easier to develop those young players that I am desperate to bring into this first team. Okay, it's Burnley at home next on the 19th of January, a midweek fixture. We're in the middle of 3 matches in quick succession, and I'm hoping to give the fans a bit more entertainment this time out. We have now scored 15 goals in 11 matches at home, so hopefully a few more today. And it's another 1-0 win that follows the same format as we've come to expect. Lower possession, higher XG. Another good performance from Blázquez, which is great to see. Still not sure whether he's going to be my long-term solution, though, or whether we're going to be finding another goalkeeper for this second half of the season. And it was a very old-school Burnley-esque winning goal, actually. A free kick floated in with Manswerk leaping to head the ball beyond the Burnley goalkeeper. Just the one set piece was all it took. This isn't the best news, though, when Oteza's already off on international duty. Sonny Finch has injured himself and he's out for up to 6 weeks with sprained knee ligaments. He's managed to score 9 goals in 9 starts this season. I hope we don't miss him too much. And on the 22nd of January, this is our 3rd match in a week. We're at home against bottom-placed Brighton, and we're now on a 10-match unbeaten run. Can we make it 11? Oh my word, incredibly, yes, we can. A 3-2 victory this time. We did dominate possession and XG and shots this time out. And incredibly, Onana and Smolcic managed to make it to the end of their 3rd match within 7 days. They must be absolutely shattered in central defence there. It was a tale of 2 players for most of the match. Rukavina was our one. He opened the scoring with a cracking strike in the 5th minute before Balikwisha got onto the score sheet for Brighton. with another quality effort, brilliant takedown, and then a quality finish into the back of the net. Rukavina then managed to score a phenomenal goal, really putting the ball in from an almost impossible angle on his left foot. What a quality strike. But then Balikwisha wasn't to be outdone, did pretty much the same thing from the other flank, on the right flank this time, running straight towards a goalkeeper and a similar finish. And then, at the other end, Ekitike thought, you know what, I'm not having any of that. I'm not going to be outdone. I'm standing in for Sonny Finch. I'm just going to create the best solo finish of my career. So Rukavina, unsurprisingly, man of the match in that game. Ekitike with a 7.6. But you can see our squad is getting seriously bare bones now. Philip French, Wade Quansah, Reece Welsh, Jared Latham, Frantisek Bednar. These are all kids who have barely played any first team football. But you know what? Despite 3 matches in 7 days, with only 2 central defenders available to choose from, we picked up maximum points in that run, and we are still 5 points clear of 5th place. Newcastle look like they're going to be fighting it out for those Champions League places. And look who we've got up next. I think it's time for our boys to have a well-earned rest, hopefully get some players back from international duty, maybe bring a couple of new signings in just to bolster the squad depth, because it's looking a little flaky at the moment. Definitely still on the lookout for that goalkeeper. And I think now that we've let Trilly go, we might need another right back as well. Wade Quansah, I think, is the future. He's got incredible potential, but he's only 18 at the moment. So, yeah, I'm on the lookout for a right back as well. And I'm not wasting any time. Here is that right back. He's just popped up on my scout reports. He's available for £6.75 million. Samuel Cordero. Played for Grêmio for the last 3 years in Brazil. Just 20 years old. Incredible physical attributes, great tackler. He's not so good going forward, but that's something we can work on. Not quite at Premier League level yet, but I don't think it's going to take him long. Right, we are just a few days away from transfer deadline day now, and Newcastle are favourites for this upcoming match. Both teams unbeaten in their last 5 matches, but obviously playing at St James's Park, it's going to be quite an intimidating atmosphere. Cordero has been granted his work permit though, so there we go, we accept his transfer. He might even actually be in time to play a part in this match. But we're still without Pino, Oteza and Manga because they've made it through to the final stages of the Olympic qualifying. Yay them! And there we go, Cordero has signed in time for the match. And it's just worth pointing out to you, I now have 8 scouts looking for a new goalkeeper. Youthful Everton come unstuck. We were well beaten by Newcastle, sadly. They completely bossed possession and XG and the number of shots. We were never in the game. The match momentum was completely in their favour. Ramazzani did open the scoring for us. We had a throw-in early on, Mansford making a fantastic run into the box and Ramazzani finding space despite having been in a position to pick up that throw-in in the first place. But then, St Maximan played a beautiful through ball for the Newcastle forward. That was almost Tottenham-like defending against Newcastle there. And, oh my word, some Tottenham-like control of possession. Oh my word, yeah, we're getting absolutely sliced open here by Newcastle. For their third goal, played through from the centre of defence and a beautiful lofted ball over the top. Goalkeeper couldn't do anything about it. That wasn't quite as solid a performance there from Blázquez. No, a 6.3. He's done well in the last couple of games, but that performance does not endear me to him long term, I must say, as our first choice goalkeeper. A good backup, absolutely, but I think I need someone stronger to rely on longer term. Cordero did start in that match as well. Absolutely amazing. Straight off the plane from Brazil. Can you play for 90 minutes? Yeah, go on then. So we do stay in second place, Newcastle pushing up to third, but we're now only 5 points clear of Man City and Chelsea, who both have 2 games in hand over us. Oh, this is going to be an interesting end to the season. 12 matches left, and I have to be honest, I would love it if we somehow managed to get Champions League football. And if we have any hope of achieving that ambition, there's a lot riding on this particular deadline day now. 15 hours remaining. We've got Caligari wanted by Brighton, Mabude still wanted by Gladbach, and Wetzels. Braga this time are showing an interest in him. So Napoli and Juve have moved on. That's a good sign. And I really want a goalkeeper. Well, 12 hours left, and we're getting some really quite cheeky bids on a couple of players here. Mohamed Al Arouche is wanted on loan until the end of the season for no money whatsoever. I know we picked him up for free in the summer. He is an asset we're waiting to cash in on, but no, we're not letting him leave for nothing. Same for Ghana, absolutely not. If you want him, you can at least pay something, thank you very much. That's more like it. Multiple offers in now for El Arouche. We'll turn down split, but 12.75 to 11.75 million pounds for a player who we signed for nothing in the summer. He does have some long-term potential, but has only made 2 substitute appearances for us in the league this season, so let's cash in and get over 10 million quid for him. And we do exactly that. We're getting £9.75 million up front and 2.3 million as and when he makes 20 league appearances. And that money coming in should now feed our interest in Oliver Christensen. I think this is the guy who I want to replace Nicholas Heddle. He's played in the Bundesliga and Liga 1 over the last few seasons at a decent enough level. Consistent performer, thrives on playing in big matches. Incredible mental attributes, great aerial reach. Not too bad at passing the ball, rushes out, so that'll be great for a sweeper keeper. This is a guy I'm excited about. I can get behind him as our number 1 for sure. Problem is, apparently Nice don't want to sell him mid-season, so I'm just going to make an upfront offer right at this bottom end and see if that tempts them. Wow, yes it does! No messing around with instalments. They accepted that far too easily for a player who they don't want to sell mid-season. They must be in some serious financial difficulty. But there we go, £7.25 million in one go, up front. Let's go and offer this lad a contract. And with just 5 hours of the window remaining, here's a bit of business I am really impressed with. Callum Doyle was on loan to Hertha from Manchester City. He's a decent Premier Division player now and a good one in future. Central defender, can also play left back, can dribble, so he could potentially play as that wing back that we need as well. And we've been able to take over his loan from Hertha, so we're picking him up for the rest of the season and we've got an optional future fee of £13 million. Given he's 24 years old with room to develop, this could be a summer transfer signing already lined up. Brilliant. And there we are, that's confirmation. Callum Doyle is in. What a fantastic piece of cheeky business that is. James Garner could well be on the way out, a free loan but with a mandatory £10 million fee at the end of that loan period. And Christensen has accepted that contract offer, so work permit permitting, we've got our new goalkeeper as well. And there's confirmation he is in. Welcome to Everton Football Club, Oliver Christensen. And the window slams shut. Garner did move on loan to Sporting, so they will be buying him for £10 million at the end of the season. So in total, we spent £25.5 million this transfer window and received £36 million. So another net profit for the director of Moneyball. Good work. And incredibly, we're still paying the 4th lowest wage bill in the entire division. How are we still in the top 4? So that's 4 players in this transfer window. And I make it 6 members of the first team squad who've either departed permanently or on loans with options to leave in the summer. That leaves us with a 25-man squad, including some of those youngsters, Quansah, Welsh and French, who are realistically just there to make up the numbers at the moment. And I'm really pleased. Looking at the squad planner, we've got good options all over the pitch now. Christensen is our first choice goalkeeper. Vinicius and Wetzel's obviously at left back. Caligari now supported by Cordero on the right. Pinot, Smolcic, Doyle, Bajcetic and Manga is a fantastic 5 players to choose from in the centre of defence. Lado has locked down that defensive midfield position and is ably supported by Onana. Reader, if he has to, can play there as well. Then in the centre of midfield, loads of options. Reader, Ilkan, Lado can play there if needed. Onana, Mansverk, great. Loads of options. Rukavina and Ramazzani on the left. Ramazzani, Mabude on the right. And Arteza, Finch and Ekitike to choose from up front. We are loaded, and as long as we avoid an injury crisis, we can compete still for these European spots. Even if the media think that's utter nonsense, they still have us down as a 600 to 1 shot for the title. And our 2 best players are right at the bottom of the division's key player list. Is that down to our reputation? Is that down to the fact that we're massively overperforming? Either way, we've got 4 winnable matches in the league up next for us to really prove ourselves. Crystal Palace, who are sitting in 16th, Wolves in 13th, Stoke in 15th, and Man United, we're playing them at home and they're in 6th. And we've got to believe in ourselves the way that we've performed this season. But first, Arsenal, FA Cup, 4th round at home. Can Antony Clarke deliver the goods up against Ernesto Valverde? Yes, he can. A 3-0 victory. We absolutely battered them. Yes, we had a penalty in the mix, but a 3.05 XG. Blasquez was our man of the match, actually, as our cup goalkeeper. And look at the state of that Arsenal team. Ben White, Tomiyasu, Tierney, Neves, Odegaard, Fofana, Saka, Jesus. These are quality players. And we've absolutely hammered them. And looking at the goals, it's all down to our set pieces. A beautiful flick on from Morteza there to nod the ball to Mansverk, who scored our first goal, an absolute tap-in. Rukavina with a cracking penalty straight down the middle for our second. And then Reeder floated in a free kick, Pinot knocking it to Bajcetic to just simply tap in again for our third. Incredibly worked set pieces and a deserved 3-0 victory against Arsenal. But Ledo is out for 4 weeks. Okay, that's not the best news. How will we perform without him over the next few weeks against Crystal Palace, Wolves, possibly Stoke as well? Well, come back soon to find out, because I'll tell you what, this man, Antony Clarke, he could well be taking Everton back into Europe at the end of this season. And not just Europe. With 12 matches left, we are in a very strong position to qualify for the Champions League. I hope you've enjoyed what you've watched today. If you have, please do drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Turn your notifications on to find out the second the next part drops. And in the meantime, be excellent to each other. I'm Kirk Sheridan. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon as we close this season and find out just what Antony Clarke can achieve.